Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Claudia and today we're going to take a little trip with me on my coloring journey. So I kind of always want to improve on my watercoloring. So this month I'm going to do quite a lot of it, and today I wanted to show you how I practice my watercoloring on a pretty inexpensive watercolor coloring book. This one I bought here from Holland, and I decided to buy it because the designs were pretty nice. They were quite open, and I could really practice with all my new colors and kind of everything I had. The only problem was the paper. The paper was very thin, considering this was marketed as a watercolor coloring book. So I wasn't sure how much water it can handle and how exactly the water spreads around. So in the beginning I was very careful. The reason why I'm using a coloring book and not drawing myself is that drawing the image usually takes quite some time. And I have quite limited amount of it because I work full time, so I don't have all the time in the world to spend on drawing and coloring. So I usually either get some digital art that I print or ask my husband to draw for me something, and then I'll just color it. So I'm trying to decide, what do I want more? Do I want more to test my coloring and improve my technique, or I actually want to improve my drawing? For this one I just used the basic Daniel Smith watercolors. I had the 6 tubes one that you can buy kind of everywhere, so there's 6 tubes of normal colors and 6 tubes of the Primatech colors, and that's kind of enough to have a wide range of watercolors. And I have added more colors to my good watercolors collection, but for now I'm just using the basic ones. And in the beginning I was very careful. I added layer after layer. I knew the paper was not very good. I was afraid I'm going to rupture it and I'm going to have streaks, so I was adding very slowly, layer after layer, especially on the magnolia. And that is of course one way of doing things. And I'm sorry that you can hear all the planes, but my house is just under a plane route. And I was quite happy with how the flower turned out. I had a really nice gradient, and I was like, okay, now I can maybe do more. So I got more bolder and more bolder, so I was adding more color with more water. I was trying things out. I did notice that the more water I put on this type of paper, because it's so thin, the more water, the faster it absorbs. So what I was ending up with is that I was putting, let's say, a big blob of color with lots of water, and I would expect it to have some time to move it around and to make the gradient that actually was absorbed very fast. And I learned this the hard way with the brown I was using, because I wanted my birdies to be kind of brown, and the paint absorbed really fast and I couldn't move it around, and it got this weird shape, this weird texture on it. Was very hard. Once it's on this paper, you cannot lift it off. On normal watercolor paper, which is thicker, you can add more water and kind of lift off the color, but this kind of paper was, I think, the cheaper kind, so I wasn't able to do that. So in the end I decided, okay, I'm just going to continue and I will fix it somehow. In the end I went on to do the tails, and for these ones I was very careful because I wanted to leave as much white as possible. I didn't want to make it just one blob of color, so I was very careful on drawing the feathers. And then I went back with the brown, and again I put too much water, it got absorbed really fast, and what you end up with is a very flat color. So you got too much color and you cannot modify it. You don't have highlights, you cannot add more concentration because you already put as concentrated as much. So at this point I thought I can still fix it by adding highlights with the white gel pen. So I was like, okay, I'm still going to continue, because I actually was liking this piece quite a lot, and that's because of the drawing style. In between each layer I am drawing my paper with a heat tool, and the reason is that when you do watercolors, if you are not drawing the paper properly, the layers will bleed into each other and then you get muddy colors, so you don't want that. And now I decided, okay, I'm going to do the background, and the background is quite faded, but next to the objects, next to the birds and the flower, it is much more darker. So I'm doing that by adding quite some blue color, and then with water moving it around and kind of dragging the color and making it fade out. I didn't want to draw a background for the entire piece, and I was trying to see how much color does this paper take and how much water. At one point I think it reached a saturation point where I couldn't actually add more color without the paper starting to peel. So I stopped and I decided, okay, I'm going to use my Inktense pencils, and because these ones I can apply them quite light so I don't peel the paper, and then I can go with the water and activate them, and this will deepen the color. So I also use a black pen, a black brush pen, and this one has like an archival ink because I wanted the black on the birds to be real black. Then I decided also to go with micron pen all over and redo the contour of the birds and of the flower. Originally on this book the designs are done with gray, but I did notice that it was kind of losing its shape, so I decided to make it look like it was stamped. I'm adding some more Inktense pencils, and then I will deepen this color. And in the end, I think in the last half an hour I spent trying to fix the problem that I had with the brown there. So I tried different techniques. I tried adding some white Inktense pencil, and then so that I can dilute that very dark brown. When that didn't work, I started testing all of my white gel pens, and I really tested all of them. So I had a Sharpie and Molotov white gel pen, and then in the end I still got stuck with Uniball, because that is the most opaque white I could find, and with that one I kind of tried to simulate the feathers. You will see that in a moment. Anyhow, before we end this piece and before I show you the last some pictures from close by, I wanted to thank you for subscribing to my channel, and if you haven't subscribed, I would urge you to do so. I'll try to post even more videos this month and more regularly. We will see how that goes. I'll try to make smaller pieces because these big pieces usually take 4 to 5 hours, and they're quite, let's say, time consuming to edit. So I wanted to do this month because it's kind of watercolor month, where I do smaller pieces and I share, you know, more regularly. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about, you know, what I use, what tools I use, please visit my website. It's going to be, you can click the link there on the learn more. If you want to subscribe, click the subscribe button, and of course you will see some more similar videos. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.